Jason, you tell me when we're ready, okay? Okay, I guess we're recording. So hi, everyone. I am Michelle Grimolia, the president and CEO of Woodland Pond, and I'm very happy to see all of you in this room. And for those of you that are in your apartments and cottages, we'd like to see you here next month. Please, please, please. We are going to be looking at increasing the capacity in all of our meeting spaces. So for those of you that have not attended a management Q&A or don't remember how we like this to go, each director that's present will stand up and give a little bit of information about what's new or exciting in their department. But this is really mainly driven by resident questions. So if you have questions for any of us, once we get to that part in each person's segment, please do raise your hand and let us know what your questions are. I'm going to start with you, Bridget, and then we'll go around this way. Actually, yeah, because you have at 2 o'clock. All right, so I'm going to kick this over to Bridget Blum, our Director of Human Resources. Hi, everybody. As Michelle said, I am Bridget Blum, Director of Human Resources. I also have responsibility for corporate compliance for Woodland Pond. Both of those functions are pretty quiet when it comes to interactions and dealings with the residents. Some of you do come visit me on occasion to tell me how wonderful the staff is. So I appreciate those visits and I look forward to having you pop in for those reasons. But certainly, you know, my office is here in the main corridor and we are here as a resource to anyone at Woodland Pond and can offer, you know, information and point you in the right direction if you do have a question that isn't necessarily human resources related, but in Woodland Pond in general, we can make sure that we help you get to the right director or the right person in the leadership team that you should be talking to. So feel free to stop in at any time. I am working right now within my own department with the two staff members that work for me on an integration of an entirely new system for Woodland Pond with regard to our applicant tracking and payroll and human resources information, employee data, net learning, which is our learning platform. It really encompasses many, many different systems that we use here. Actually 7 individual systems. It's bringing them all into one system. So when Michelle just said she was going to let me go first because I have a 2 o'clock, you know, it's a conference call that I have standing weekly to develop the next phase of the system. So I'm going to excuse myself to go to that when it's time. But if anyone has any questions for me right now, I'd be happy to answer them. I usually don't get a whole bunch of questions at this meeting, but it's nice to see everyone's faces. Okay, perfect. Just the way I like it. So I'm going to introduce Tom Tango, the Director of Facilities.
Good afternoon. I'm Tom Tango, Director of Plant Operations. I've got a couple updates and I'll take questions. The long-awaited staircase, concrete staircase out on Danskin Road, that should begin possibly Friday or Monday. I just talked to the contractor this morning. So that should be starting real soon. Also, the other thing that's pretty exciting in my department is we had a new painter just start work Monday, and we just hired another maintenance tech today. He'll be starting early June. So we, for the first time in a long time, we're fully staffed again. And not only are we fully staffed, but we're fully staffed with some skilled people. So that's going to, you know, I really think that in coming months, if not weeks, we should really start making a pretty big impact. I still need, and if anybody has any family, I still need 2 summer kids. I need summer staff. One of the things I want to talk about is the mulch and gravel. I want to mulch everything this year, and when mulch is coming today, it's getting delivered. Gravel came yesterday, the other day, and I want to spread some gravel on the walkways. So I need summer staff. We had the position open for a while, and we're getting 0 applicants. So if anybody has any family interested in summer staff, let me know or tell them. Also, I know a couple of people have asked me about chlorine because in the news lately, there's been some mention of chlorine shortages. And we've confirmed with Ecolab, the people that we get the chlorine from for the pool, they foresee zero issues in supplying us or any of their contract holders with chlorine going forward. So if you hear anything in the news about chlorine shortage, that should not affect us at all. We confirmed that with them. That really wraps up anything I was planning on saying. Any questions?
You said something about a stairway on Danskin. What is that? I don't know.
Yeah, right where Danskin Way comes into the circle. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Can hear you.
Okay, my question was, you mentioned stairway on Danskin Way, and what is that about?
It's been a concern for a while, and we worked it out with the Plan Operations Committee about what they would like. We're putting in a staircase, a concrete staircase, so that people coming from Danskin Way can get up to the building without walking through mulched area, and makes it a lot safer, especially in the wintertime.
Thank you.
So, yeah, okay.
Someone else had their hand up.
Oh.
Could you guys do me a favor? That was Bill Waltz. Could you just introduce yourselves?
Okay.
So that the rest of the people in the room know your name.
I'm Betsy Toole. My question is about the fountain between North Wing and Central Wing. And two things, particularly the timing when it comes on and when it goes off. I'd like to see it like when it was first installed, coming on 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and going off at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So it's going all evening. And the timing's been really weird. And the second part is when you first installed it, the ring that made the fountain was completely underwater, and it is not now. And I'd like to see those things changed, especially the timing.
The timing is something that if I were to set the time and walk through the hall, I have 5 people telling me the timing is good and 5 people telling me it's not. So the timing is something that I will discuss with the Plant Operations Committee. And I'll take direction from them as to what the time on and off should be.
It would be nice to have it on in the evening as well as the daytime.
Yeah, I mean,
Like maybe 8 o'clock or 9
and I
o'clock.
think if I had a room full of 10 people, I'd have 12 opinions on when it should be on and off. So so I'm just saying it's difficult for me to set a time. So I'd rather let the Plant Operations Committee of residents and they however they can talk to you people, they can talk to everybody, and I'll take direction from them as to what time the fountain should go on and off.
It's like the dining, you can't please everybody.
Right.
That's the rule at Woodland Pond. You can't please everybody. And most days you can't please the same person twice in a row.
Hi, I'm Bill. And when you talked about a staircase, I
Right.
noticed that people walk across the mulched area between the main entrance and the parking lot. And, somebody's going to slip and fall or something like that. So either it needs to be a barrier there or there needs to be a stairway, I think.
Or if people, you're correct. People do, go there. People walk a lot of places that they shouldn't walk. And we can't, go putting something everywhere people shouldn't be. At some point it's, personal responsibility. But that area is one that I can imagine within a few years, you might see another staircase in. And there's a lot of things like staircases. There's a lot of things that are great ideas, but there's only a certain amount of money. And this facility is 12 years old. You know, we're starting to have hot water heaters in cottages go. We're starting to have roofs we need to look at. So there's a lot of things that money has to be spent on. So there's a lot of things that, you know, need to wait till they get plugged into budget. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Sarah Hull. I'm the Resident Services Director. So I just have a couple of announcements activities-wise from Gretchen. So our 10th annual Woodland Pond Garden Tour, spotlighting cottage and ground level apartment gardens and campus-wide landscaping efforts, will be Friday, June 11th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And please note, this is a little bit of an earlier date than what we originally planned. And it's going to be earlier so that we can really catch the flowers in bloom and when things are really, really looking beautiful. So again, Friday, June 11th from 10 to 12. And the rain date is Monday, June 14th. So if you'd like to participate, please leave your name at the concierge desk and pick up an information sheet that's needed by the garden committee, and then return that information sheet to the concierge by Friday, May 28th. And also, I heard that everybody really enjoyed the music in the courtyard and that it felt great to be outside, to be together, and to have live music again. So Gretchen and I have heard from many people, and we're definitely planning on working on having music outside scheduled on a more regular basis. So on that note, if you have suggestions of any musical performers that you feel people would enjoy here, please let me know or let Gretchen know. We're totally open to your suggestions. Also,
If I may, I would
Yep.
also just add, that can include resident musicians or vocalists as well.
yes,
You know, many of you
definitely.
have talents in that regard, and you're absolutely welcome to, you know, share those with your neighbors.
Yep, absolutely. That'd be great. And then on Memorial Day, we have a Memorial Day program at 2:00, which is here in the PAC and will also be on 1340. And on the 26th of this month, the Dulcimers concert will take place at 2 p.m. here in the PAC and also on 1340. So we've got a number of things that we're looking forward to. And that's all I have for announcements. Does anyone have any questions for me? Yes, Ann Gordon.
Thanks. I'm just wondering if we're planning into the future, is there any anticipated start date for the Pondaliers in the fall? And will we be having the same wonderful conductor?
That's a really good question about the Pondaliers and when we'll resume. I do not have an answer to that question right now. It's certainly on our team's minds to be reopening as much as possible when we can. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'm sure Michelle and I will be discussing that. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Dunn, Director of Environmental Services. A couple things that I wanted to bring attention to as things are getting much warmer outside. The housekeepers want me to remind you that please try and turn the AC on before your housekeeping appointment comes. A lot of apartments are usually on the warmer side, and to work in that environment can be difficult, especially if it's humid out. So just think about that before your housekeeping appointment. Just turn the AC on about an hour before they get there. If they're coming at 8:15, yeah, I understand, like, you don't need to get out of bed at 7 and then go back to bed. But just think about that as you're having your housekeeping come, to have it at least a temperature a little bit cooler in the apartment for them to work in. And also a lot of complaints about bees on the porches. So just a reminder to please call Concierge if you're having such a problem. We've had several so far this year. It seems to be more of a prevalent problem than last year. So please call Concierge, put that number, your apartment number and the issue you're having into the pest control book. So when they come, they can address that when they come. Okay. I really don't have a lot of anything else for housekeeping. Any questions for me? Sure. Go ahead.
Betsy Toole again.
Yeah.
On the on the balconies.
Yep.
There's a big stain along the edge from snow melt. Can we get the
Yeah.
balcony floor cleaned? The
Yes.
housekeeping lady said she would not do that. She
Yeah,
would
that's something
only
we do.
vacuum.
Yeah, that's something we do separately. So the best thing to do is call Carrie or myself and we'll schedule that for you.
Thank
And
you
we'll
very
come up-
much.
We use a steamer on that because sometimes
Yeah.
that kind of like bakes on there and it's, you can't
Yeah.
just mop it
It'll
off.
be lovely to have it cleaned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I know there was a question from another resident that's not here about windows. We will look into the windows for cleaning this year, looking to the contractor. I need to talk to them and I'm waiting for them to get back to me. One on a quote and two on if they can even fit it into the schedule. Okay, a lot of contractors are extremely busy this year. So we're working on that if we can do that this year. Okay. Anything else? No? All right. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, I'm Jason Irish, Director of Concierge and Communication Services. I want to start by saying it's great to see everyone without masks. I'm happy. I know the residents are happy. I know Sarah touched on it with, getting the music outside the last couple of days, but I know the community's just felt more alive the last couple of days. So I'm happy, and I know, we're all happy. I hope you are too. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Spectrum phone changeover. I know I've talked about it before, and I know residents have had a lot of questions. And you will have questions. If Michelle had said last week to try to start the process by last Friday. If you haven't to this point, please try to do it this week. If you have any questions during the process, give me a call, give the concierge desk a call. We'll help you through the process. There's different questions every time you call, depending on who you talk to. But again, I think we've kind of got it down now. So, get the process started. If you have questions while you're doing it, give us a call. Phil, did you have a question? No. Okay. This next thing I wanted to talk about, Tom had done some research and found a nice emergency light to put in apartments if the power ever goes out. The concierge desk has a little example of one at the desk. Stop by there. You can put your name down on a list. We'll order them. I think Tom put a date of next Monday for everyone to place their order. You can get multiple. You can get one. You don't have to get any. It's up to you. But again, they're perfect. If the power ever goes out, you just pull it out of the outlet and turn it on. Now with that, I'll also say,
I have a question about that. Does it automatically come on if it's plugged into the outlet and the power goes out? Okay, so you can leave it plugged in and it could just be plugged in and on?
It's going to be plugged in and there'll be no light. And if the power goes out, it'll come on.
Okay,
Well, does the
right
power
in the
switch-
wall.
Right, so you can find it.
Oh, that's nice.
does the power switch have to be on? Does the power switch has to be on?
No.
Okay. I think they're $10.
Yeah, so this is a nice alternative if you don't have a lantern that you got from us last year, and you can put them in your outlets in the hallways or whatever.
And this is an idea that came from Plan Operations Committee.
Okay. So if anyone didn't hear that, this idea came from the Plan Operations Committee for these lights, and they're a great idea. You should stop by the concierge desk and order one if you haven't done so already. So what I was saying with that, also, if there's ever a power outage, not a power outage, but if there's ever a telephone outage and you have any issues, press your PERS. That's why we say keep your PERS close. Obviously in a power outage, we may not be able to get those, but with a telephone outage, you can press your PERS button and we'll be able to respond. Now with that as well, regularly we get low battery reports for the PERS. We put them in the mail cubbies in the mail room. If you ever get that, do not hesitate. Just go to the concierge desk so we could change the battery out on that. The concierge asked me to remind everyone to check their mail folders regularly. Sometimes it'll build up. I know a lot of newer residents, aren't familiar with going to the concierge desk to check your mail folder for anything that's not in the mail room. Check that. Some upcoming bus trips that we have coming next month. There'll be a newcomers bus tour. So for any new residents or even, older residents, if you want to go out on a bus tour just around New Paltz to see where things are, groceries, different stores, it'll all be in the next month's newsletter. So if you want to get on the bus, stop by the concierge, just sign up for that. We've got some outdoor events that we're scheduling, hiking, some other events outside for bus tours. Just keep an eye on the newsletter for those trips. Now, and I know Michelle mentioned it, but as masks are obviously, off the residents now in the building, if you go out on any trips, whether at medical or an outing, you still have to wear your mask on the bus. I do want to mention also, if for those of you who don't know, we do have regular shopping days in New Paltz on Wednesdays. If you need to go to town to pick up anything, sign up at the Concierge and we'll take you to town. And also twice a month, we go to the Poughkeepsie Galleria currently on Fridays. Sign up at the Concierge desk for that trip as well. And church on Sundays. Any questions on anything I've talked about so far? None? That's all I have. So have a good day.
Thanks, Jason.
Hi, everybody. Ronnie Licata, Dining Director. I second everybody's comments about seeing no masks, looking at your faces again. It's absolutely wonderful. So I just want to talk about a couple things. The pub, obviously, a lot of you have come by and I appreciate that. This week is our soft opening, working out kinks, testing some of our recipes and seeing where we need to make adjustments, but keep coming down. Right now we have pastries, muffins for breakfast, and sandwiches and salad and soup for lunch. Hopefully next week we plan on having smoothies and hot breakfast sandwiches for breakfast. And then probably the following week, we will hopefully launch our grill program out of the pub. So what that'll look like is you can come up, order a burger. We'll have burgers, chicken wings, chicken tenders, French fries. You can place the order with Deandra. She'll put it into the computer system. You can go sit down. It'll get fired into the kitchen. The kitchen prepares your food. It takes a couple minutes, just like if you were sitting down and ordering it. And then we'll bring it out to you. You can sit outside, enjoy the beautiful weather we've been having. I think that's it for the pub. As far as the dining room, Michelle announced yesterday that we are going to have 3 seatings starting Tuesday, June 1st, which is after Memorial Day holiday. You should be anybody who has a 5 o'clock reservation right now from June 1st on, you should be receiving a call from one of my staff members to change that time slot, because that time slot will go away. I know we've been changing the hours a lot, but one of the things Michelle and I talked about is I feel really comfortable that we can run with the hours we have right now and we should not have to change them again. So thank you for being patient with that, because I know we've done a lot of flip-flopping on the hours. Yeah, I think so. We can get about 108 people. Hopefully we can fill the dining room up. So please keep calling, make your reservations, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the dining room soon. The last thing, and Tom talked about staffing. I've not verbally at these meetings talked about my staffing situation, but wait staffing, we're continually hiring. The more we hire, the more we can kind of accommodate in the dining room. But we're in good shape there. We were struggling and currently are struggling in the kitchen a little bit, but we have 2 great candidates and potentially a 3rd on the horizon that hopefully will close up all of our open vacancies in the kitchen. So that should help us out a lot. I think that's it for dining. Does anybody have any questions? Hold on a second. Hold on, Pat.
I need to give you the mic.
Hi,
And
thank
just
you.
introduce yourself and then go ahead and ask the question.
For several years, we've been encouraged to use our own cups when we come and get the free coffee. I'm the only one that drinks out of my own cup. Now you're encouraging me to use throwaway paper cups. What do you know that I don't know?
So it's really an infection control piece that we're trying to eliminate the people bringing items from their rooms into the community space from an infection control standpoint. That's really the cusp of it. There's really not much more to it than that.
And I can elaborate on that. The primary cause of the concern there is you're bringing a cup that may or may not be clean to the standards that are required for infection control. And so if you inadvertently, if your cup lip touches the dispensary where the coffee or the water comes out and your cup has not been sufficiently cleaned, we have a concern about cross-contamination. However, the science has changed a bit on COVID. Initially, it was thought that it could live on surfaces and that it was a high risk of transmission on non-porous materials. That's changed a bit. So Ronnie and I can revisit this. We might be at a point now with a fully vaccinated, resident population, or just about, that we can go back to allowing you to use your own things, because we of course do not like the waste that's being created. But it was an infection control reason, but we can revisit that.
Okay.
Same thing with the hydration stations,
Okay.
because we really need to get those back now that it's hot out and people are walking and so forth. So,
Sounds good.
okay, so we'll talk about that in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
So look forward to that. I'm sure it's coming down the pike.
Before that happens, couldn't we go back to having the porcelain cups or mugs out there? You used to have a tray of the mugs and we would use them and put them back when they were dirty.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll put a bus tub back out over by the pub, that when you're done with your mug, you can put it back in there. That's not a problem. I can start that
Yeah,
tomorrow.
please, that would be good. And also, don't forget the salad bar.
Yes.
Just make sure you introduce yourself, okay, Ina?
Ina Podorf. Any chance that residents can help in menu planning in the future?
Sure. I don't see why not. I don't know how we would do that. I have to think about that a little bit. Maybe we can put together a little committee and talk about things that you guys like or don't like. Yeah, I'll put that on my agenda as to what we can do with that.
Incidentally, Ronnie and I are planning another dining survey to come out in the next couple of weeks. So that'll also get an update as to where people are, thinking about different things related to the culinary program.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Everyone, I'm Shannon Scatoro, the Director of Marketing. It's nice to see all your faces. Just a couple of updates on my end. We are starting to finally be able to invite prospects to events here. We're going to start with the garden tour on June 11th. We're going to invite a few prospects to tour around and see your gardens. And then we're going to start up on June 17th with our in-person resident panel luncheon again. So invitations are being sent out this week for that. We're going to start making a guest list, and we have a panel of about 8 residents. They're going to speak to the audience and talk to them about what life is like here. If you have any friends that you think might be interested in coming to either events, just let us know and we can send them an invitation. We also still have a few vacant apartments. So if you know of anyone that wants to take a look or is interested in finding out some more details, just have them give us a call. And then our new website, we're looking at June 10th to launch it right now. So if all goes well as planned, June 10th, you'll see a brand new website with the resident portal and some new features on there as well. And that is all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me? No? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Okay. You guys can either go or stay. It's up to you. All right, so I'm going to walk and stand because I just prefer to do that. So again, I'm Michelle Grimalia, the president and CEO here at Woodland Pond. I know normally you guys just see me from the neck up or the waist up, but I do have a whole body, not just sitting at my desk all the time. I want to just thank my team and thank all of you because when this whole thing started, I pulled out one of my memos a month ago or so, my first memo that I issued. And this was March of 2020. And I just asked all of you to please be patient because this whole thing could last 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Who would have ever thought that we would be, having dealt with this for a year? We weathered, or so far have weathered, quite the storm. And that's, I think, testament to everyone that's in this room, everyone that's watching on Channel 1340. We had to make a lot of hard decisions along the way. And I know that this was an extremely hard time for everybody, especially the residents. I know there was extreme isolation and so forth, but I think it's so great that we're now able to make the steps forward. I want to thank all of you that chose to be vaccinated, because without this high level of vaccination that we have among the residents, we wouldn't be in the room maskless right now. And we wouldn't be having these conversations about reopening everything. So right now, our focus is on reopening and resuming as much as we possibly can. So keep a close eye on your Chanticleer and your newsletter, and please be communicating with us those things that are very important to you to see resuming. We're looking at increasing capacity in our rooms, bringing back things like the Pondeliers, committee meetings, all that stuff as much in person. I also want to just emphasize that since everyone has had a long time to really think about everything, if you have an idea for a program, a trip on the bus, a service that we should be offering at Woodland Pond that we're not doing, we are all ears. We want to add things. If there are people that would like to see bus trip going out to golf courses, let us know. The sky is the limit, and the only thing we could potentially say is we can't do it at this time. Financially, we are recovering from a year where our census dropped pretty significantly. So we're not doing a lot of discretionary spending right now. The spending that we're doing is related to, getting everything kind of up and in working order. We had a lot of things that got delayed last year because contractors couldn't come in the building. So we're kind of getting ourselves back to baseline right now. And we've had to make some pretty significant investments to do so. But your ideas are what we want to hear in terms of programming, trips, new interest groups. So please communicate all that stuff with anybody, Concierge, Sarah, me, Jason. Just let us know, because we want this to be what you want this to be. We are also looking at a sunsetting of the screener positions at this point, because we are now, in a phase where we're now maskless. We've got a high vaccination rate. They are doing primarily infection control. So it's less important right now about the individual screening of the residents, but the infection control piece is continuing. We are talking about when we can go back to when those screeners weren't necessary. So we're really looking at all of the things that we can do to kind of get campus back to normal. And of course, right now, that's primarily focused in independent living because the health center is still under quite rigid state requirements. They are talking about sunsetting some of their own requirements, but the governor is still holding pretty tight on, skilled nursing and assisted living facilities for obvious reasons. But so I just want you to know that we're very, very focused on not only getting everything back to being open and available, but also enhancing and improving things that you think that we can do. So, I believe that all of the committees have resumed in-person meetings. I believe that every committee is considered to be an open committee meeting. So if you see a committee meeting that you're interested in attending, you should do so. We do have capacity limits in some of the rooms, but we're looking at expanding those. Women's tea is back, or ladies' tea, women's tea. Men's coffee is going to be coming back. Happy hour is going to be coming back in some, or another, BYOB and other things. So I just want to put that out there and really just express my appreciation to everybody for the faith that you put in us to help get this community through a global pandemic. Does anybody have questions for me or anything? Marcia? It's not a question, it's a comment. Okay, hang on one second.
The fact that has been a very difficult time for all of us because of the restrictions, not only here, but socially outside, that the comments I hear is everyone is very appreciative of the way that all of you have managed us, and we feel very safe here and have felt very safe here during this difficult period.
Well, I
thank you,
appreciate that.
and that, I only hear positive comments.
Well, that's very kind of you. I mean, we certainly know that this was probably one of the hardest years everyone has faced. So I just, we do appreciate your putting your faith in us, because of course we've never been through this either. And of course there was no playbook for this, but I think we did pretty good. We came out of it on the other side so far. And if this ever happens again, at least we'll be able to sort of draw from our experience.
Well, you've done a good job, all of you, your whole staff.
Does anybody have anything else? Oh, yes, you had questions for me, but I'm going to let you ask them on mic so that people can hear them.
Yeah, so I'm planning to use public transportation actually tomorrow evening, and up until the announcements earlier this week about things freeing up a little bit, my assumption has been that for 5 days returning, I would be asked to not visit the dining room. And then also in connection with that, it occurred to me to ask, well, gee, if I'm supposed to stay out of the dining room, should I also be traveling masked within the public areas of Woodland Pond? And also, would I be required to be rapid tested at the end of that 5-day period before returning to the dining room?
That's a great question, Bill. Right now, we have not made the decision to change our guidance. So if you do go on mass transit at the moment or tomorrow, we are going to ask that you stay out of the dining room for 5 days. It's a good idea, yes, to wear your mask. I hadn't thought about that in the context of this, but that would be a request that we would make of you for the 5 days. You do not need to be rapid tested. Now, that all being said, that guidance, which we issued on March 17th, is under review. I want to try to alleviate that as much as I can, because I don't want to keep people out of the dining room, because obviously you're riding on mass transit to go do something that you're going to enjoy. And I don't want this to feel punitive. We just haven't had a chance as a team to sit down and make that next change. But I do anticipate that 5 days out of the dining room for people that are vaccinated probably is going to go away in the next week or two.
Because I also assume that that's a similar issue for people going off campus to visit with family as well.
Currently, the same guidance is still in effect, and that's all in the same guidance. I'm actually hoping to chat with my team and propose a modification to that for vaccinated residents within the next couple of days.
And then I have an unrelated question. How about having a visitor, a family member, fully vaccinated, visit me overnight in my apartment?
Yes, that's allowed at this time.
It is, okay.
Yep. So if you're vaccinated, they're vaccinated, they can come and go. We would ask that they be tested on the first day of their visit, rapid tested here at Woodland Pond. So in order to accommodate that, they would need to arrive before 4 p.m. on the date of their arrival. If they cannot do that, they can come, stay in your place, and not leave there until they can get rapid tested the next day, and then they'd be able to come and go freely. What we're doing currently is that at the end of their visit, and I think is it plus a few, do I have you guys, Mr. Toole, do I have you guys testing right at the end of your family's visit, or when do I have you guys testing? I can't remember. The day after they leave. Okay, so at the end of that visit, or a couple days after, we might have you rapid test depending on how long the visit is. But all you need to do is just contact Concierge. They can, they'll mark in the book that it's going to be for an overnight stay. And then we can talk through that. It's another thing I need to solidify a little bit with the guidance on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any other comments for me or any questions? No?
Okay, so I'll just, in closing, say that thank you very much for coming in person to all of you. You all get credit. I'll mark it in the book. And for those of you that aren't here, we better see you here next month because we're getting back to life at Woodland Pond. Bye.